And don't dream when I wake up knowing, just as the day will be a surprise, I don't know what it will be. As much as I have a programmed, calculated routine, who said that God cannot surprise me? Who says something of a little girl can happen and provoke me a joy? I don't know. Who says this can't happen? So looking at the life we have, this year we have, it's as if we gave God the right. Look, sir. I want to be surprised for a new time. I want to allow my destruction, that everything that ruined in me this year is of profound teaching, that fills me with wisdom, that grants me the fun of identifying everything that can be even more beautiful in me. This is our desire. It is making our way of being beautiful, beautiful, fair, true. The reality is very attractive when it condenses these three realities. She is beautiful. She is fair. She is true. When we are willing to live Christianity, we do not want to, but to allow the beauty of God to be reflected in us, that are reflected in our attitudes. How does a Christian recognize the other? The way you welcome. I can say, handsome, that I live the gospel, that I am minister of this, minister of that, I am a priest. I am a prophet. But if I mean a person who approaches, I give a contestimony for her. I frost in her a disbelief of my Christianity. Worse, I get unbelieving of myself, which is the great trap of the devil in us, is when it makes us get stuck in these petty shops that disagree what we know of our growth. What is not the judgment of the other who knocks me down is what I do when I lie my head on my pillow and I know I don't act Christian. It is like this, my people, increasingly allowing this light to reach our conscience, radically transform our way as we look at us, the way we look at each other, because it lacks this light that guides you, which allows you to walk safely, and God enlightens our conscience more and more. This is the life project we need to have for 2015, that our conscience is increasingly enlightened so that God gives us conditions to recognize where we make mistakes, where we are petty, where we are not acting in a beautiful, fair, true way, where we are not acting in a beautiful, fair, true way. Then, yes, we are entering the year as every Christian needs to enter. The responsibility that puts us sowers of life that we want to reap. So be honest. Look at the seeds you have sown in your life. Look at the seeds you have sown in the other's life, and realize if these seeds will generate good things or generate bad things. Because this miracle God doesn't do, see? If I sow bad things, it is quite likely, very likely, and it is not certain that these seeds will bring me very, very, very bad fruits of being enjoyed. Now, if I am careful through illuminated consciousness, new proposals, we always need to articulate what is gone with what we will still have. Life is much more beautiful when we can manage these two realities, the past and the future, wisely. Even because the present, this moment we have now, is the two-stroke articulation, one that I no longer have, and the other that I didn't even expect. So this wisdom putting me on the possibility of seeing my present time as an opportunity to enforce the past I had with all the difficulties, with everything that was painful to me, and at the same time not allowing what to might was painful to keep me from dreaming a better future. Leandro, you, who participate in my life so directly, you accompany me. You who are my friend, increasingly reflected in the concept of friendship. While a bond that fraternizes us, that puts us, even if we do not participate from each other's life. In everyday life, when we identify people who are articulating dreams similar to ours, in a time where there is so much war, where there is so much disagreement around the world, we find people who are making their personal effort to establish bridges instead of breaking them. Don't allow prejudice to move us away from each other. That prejudice prevents us from meeting people who sometimes we judge badly. In a time where the world has been so cruel, we have reduced cruelty in the space. You identify people who are doing this too. This generates a friendship, a Christian fraternity. Even if another is there in Indonesia and me here in Brazil, knowing that this man who loves in a different language, with different customs, is looking for the same ideals as me, makes me friends with him, even if we never attend to each other's house. Looking at the brands of what we lived throughout this year, learning for what we can live from now on. I say again, the difficulty of my year was very great, but at the same time, so peaceful, so visited by hope, because that is what God moves me. Living. I cannot bear witness to my faith if I am discouraged with life. As much tribulations I have had. Maybe you know, I've heard myself tell, one of the tough episodes of my life this year was that my house has literally fell. A very strong rain in Taubaté. The structure of my roof was not built as it should be to support a very large volume of water. Water entered all the condites. I lost all the wooden floor. I lost the rooms, the whole house. It was a very sad thing. I remember I was traveling, and when I got home, Tika, I've seen it through the garden. I've seen that something very serious had happened. It was on March 9th, when Thitik waited for me to get off the taxi. She hugged me already crying. And when I entered, guys, it was a horrible view of seeing the fruit of your work, your commitment, your things, all destroyed, the house, that structure, that hitherto condensed affection, which was your resting place. There is no more. You cannot sleep. You cannot lie down. You cannot sit. And suddenly the kitchen door has been opened, and in the midst of all wreckage, that whole dirt, Luca, my puppy. And it was impressive how God healed me through that creature at that moment, you know? He, with those wide old home, happy because I was coming home, not knowing the meaning of that destruction, because he didn't even know that it was destroyed. He just wanted to find me. His friend had been 15 days away, traveling, and was coming back at that time. He had no intention of looking at me with some look other than the joy of seeing me. And it is as if, at that moment, God made me understand through the non-understanding of the prophet, the tragedy, that life can always be beautiful. Since when Thipu find a reason, even if it is small, for us to start over in our history. What is a destroyed house? Anything. Is it a financial loss? And what we can't allow is that the house falls inside us. What we cannot allow is that the structure that supports us can crumble through the problems we face. Maybe you have. You may have people who can mean all your disasters, all your tragedies at the moment you get home and hug you. At that moment, Teek's hug was a livelihood for myself. But what God spoke in me through that creature, who does not understand anything about tragedy. Identify at that moment the voice of God speaking in me. Just as Francis of Assisi said through nature, through the animals, committed me even more wide of everything I needed to drop inside me with that house. Because sometimes it's not just a falling wall, it's not just a roof that collapses. It's human structures within us that need to crumble. Our attachment, who knows? Our attachment to what is material, and suddenly when I looked at all that we can materially rebuild, and I saw my friend who could not have been rebuilt if he had been killed, just as we look at a father, a mother, a child. A wall you rebuild, a ceiling you tidy up, a gate that fell you get up. A human being will always be the greatest preciousness we can have in history, in our personal history. The love we love, the forgiveness we give, everything we live in the daily lives of our house, with our parents, with our brothers, with our friends. At that moment, the hug of Luca, that smiling look at me, told me that, glad you came back, full stop. Glad you are here, full stop. And then after we find someone who tells us, good that you are here, with a tail that swings or a voice that is possible to be said, how good you came, how good you came, how good you arrive, good that you eats part of my life. So we're on the right track. My people, this year I want peace in my heart. So let's do our part, right? I want peace, so I build the little things. I will build my relationships. I will close the doors that I need to close for everything that is harmful to me. It is life change. New Year's Eve is a wonderful time for us to take stock. Trade takes stock. Trade identifies what gives damage and what not. And the good entrepreneur is the one who changes what is causing him damage. The good entrepreneur is the one who, the moment he takes stock of his company, his store, his vendina, finds that he needs to change some attitudes in his way of working, in his way of acting, so that he does not continue to bitter damage. The same thing we need to do through our effective life. Start paying attention to the relationships that we feed throughout the year. What is harmful to us in this relationship? Establish, score, is right. It is my right. It is your right. That you look at the structure of your life and have the right to change what you think will be better for your personal freedom. To your way of being of God. Create this peace. You are the builder of your peace. You establish inside your home the breakdown of these barriers that get us so away. I like to always say that. It is very easy for us to build banners inside the house. It is very easy for us to separate our brother from our life. I say this to you through what I experience in my daily life. How hard it is to articulate affection in a healthy way, in a balanced way. Being too much loved is bad, being loved with less bad. Peace is the moment when we established a bond that really gives us conditions to be who we are. I want peace in my heart. Anyone who wanted to have a friend who gives me a hand is the meaning of the Christian community. We can be friends, yes, friends of the word that unites us, friend of the gospel that congregates us, friends of the sacrament that feeds us, friend of the meetings, also, friend of intimacy. What we cannot give up is to establish this universal fraternity. We need to be friends of humanity. We need to feed on each other this feeling of respect that makes me look at each other with the respect it deserves. Of not feeling in right, to invade what I can't or treat him with disrespect. To impose his burdens that are not his. This friendship is so beautiful, my people. When we find out that each one in the place where they live, with the people with whom it lives, is crashing the same ideal, fighting for the same ideal. We want to be better people. December 15th, I was ordained priest, and I followed, even without answering, because it is impossible. I followed the demonstrations of people from all over Brazil, saying, "Hey, congratulations on your day." And I was thinking about the meaning of so many people wanting to congratulate me that day. And I realized this delicate web that unites us, right? I'm a priest who participates in the lives of these people. I am a priest who I am friends with these people without knowing that I am at, and that this friendship, this fraternity, is spiritually fed. It's not even face to face, no. I know someone is wanting my good right now. Even though you don't participate in my life. Even though you don't hit the door of my house. Even though it's not with me in my daily life. This fraternity is possible when we identify that we want the good of the other. That I just want good from the other. Brands of what was dreams that we will have as every day was born cloud every dawn, or marks of what is gone. Dreams we will.
Thank you for joining us on this spiritual journey at Path of Faith. Your participation is key to our community's growth, so please leave your comments, give us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more uplifting content.